Welcome to last week's bets. I'm your host, Jake MacKenzie. Hey, we had a wild card weekend this week. Upsets, triumph, heartbreak, all around the board. But you know who's heartbroken the most? It was me, because I went 2 of 6 on my picks. That's ridiculous. But you wouldn't believe me, because I made them on the show, but I switched off like half of them on the weekend. I was on the Texans over the Browns. I just knew CJ was rolling. It's the Texans. They're going to win. The Lions, Sam Laporta was playing. I said he wasn't playing last week, but he's playing, so I got on the Lions. I knew the Lions were going to win. They're not shorthanded no more. And the Eagles. Of course the Eagles lost. I said I'm rolling with them until they die. They've been dead since week 14, okay? We knew this. I got on the Bucks Monday. But hey, if you follow my Instagram, last week's bets, you'll know when I make updated picks and I'm getting off the teams that I made Monday. But that's why they're last week's bets. Moving on to this week. Now, it's time for Doug Watch. Listen, Doug, you made a bad bet with our editor, our producer, Fritz, in week 18. I told you that the Ravens were losing to the Steelers. You didn't believe me. Now you have to subscribe, okay? We've been checking the subscriber count every week. Look at it. It looks the absolute same to me. You're not subscribed. So every week, we're checking in, Doug. We're checking in on you, and we're waiting for your subscription. Now, how about those Chiefs? Hey, I told you we were going to do it. The Chiefs freeze out the Dolphins 26-7 in the 4th coldest game in NFL history. Hey, I told you last week the Dolphins can't win in the cold, and they sure as hell weren't going to win in the 4th coldest game ever. Rice, he doesn't fear it though. He comes out, he goes off rookie receiver, 8 receptions, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. Could have been 2, but we had a little penalty in the red zone that took 1 back. If we can get away from that, we're not turning the ball over. We're doing everything right. We just need to get away from those little penalties in the red zone, and we'll be fine. Mahomes, he takes this game personally. He's scrambling all over the place. He gets loose on a 4th and 4 for 25 yards. He doesn't care. Runs again, head-to-head collision, shatters his helmet. Dial up another play, coach. I ain't coming out of the game. Hill, he got locked down all game by Snead, and I told you he was going to do it. Snead got snubbed. Everybody knows it. Peyton Manning even agreed with me. But Hill did get 1 touchdown for 52 yards. Snead wasn't guarding him. That was Edwards. But it's okay. That's literally all the offense the Dolphins could generate the whole entire game. And we had the whole crowd swag surfing. Taylor Swift, Donna Kelsey in the box. They're doing it too. Everybody was having a good time. So now next week, we're going to Buffalo. And you know what we do when we go to Buffalo. We're stealing their souls. And that's how about those Chiefs, baby. Now we're going to take a look into the Browns-Texans game from Saturday. It was the first game of the playoffs this year. Listen, I told you that I switched off onto the Texans Saturday. CJ, I just knew he was going to go crazy, and he did. He becomes the youngest player to win a playoff game in NFL history, okay? Flacco had a chance to set some records going into the game. He was tied with Favre for the most wildcard wins. He was tied with Brady for the most road playoff wins, but he couldn't get the job done. Sleepy Joe on the sideline. He's just throwing the ball away all over the place. And this is the first time since Andrew Luck and Chuck Pagano that a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback won a playoff game. CJ, 236 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that's only before halftime, folks. He didn't even have to play the second half. He was beating on him so bad. Joe threw back-to-back picks to end their game. You knew it, third quarter, they still kind of had a micro bit of a chance to win, but Joe was like, you can have a ball, pick six, game's over, what do you know? Now, the Texans, I believe in you. Let's see if you can get this win next week. Now let's get to the Bills and the Steelers game. Listen, the Steelers, they didn't belong in the playoffs, and it showed immediately. The Bills just come down, touchdown. 21-0 right off the bat. okay? The game was postponed because they can't play in the snow. Like 8 feet of snow, they were paying fans $20 an hour to come shovel. That's crazy, okay? There was no hope for the Steelers this weekend. Give them an extra day of preparation. It didn't matter. They were toast. The Steelers, they just didn't belong in the playoffs, okay? But the Bills, they look weak. They almost gave it up, okay? Somehow, being up 21-0, it turns into 24-17 with the Steelers a chance to tie it at the end of the game before Mason Rudolph throws an interception that we all knew he was going to throw. Okay. You're weak, Bills. We're going to end you next week. Now, as things keep moving forward, we have to take a look at who's on the hot seat. First of all, Bill got fired. Who's seen that coming? I mean, we kind of did, but I just couldn't believe it until it happened. But the OG that Bill is, he says, if I'm going down, you're hiring my young Padawan here, Mayo. He steps up. We don't even interview other people. He's just the coach, okay? Vrabel, he gets fired. Who's seen that coming, okay? I didn't. I thought he was on the coldest seat in the house. There was no way he was on the hot seat. Now, Pete Carroll, he stepped down. He said, hey, my job might be in jeopardy. You ain't firing me. I'll fire myself. I'll still work for you, but I won't be the coach anymore. Which opens up a lot more jobs for maybe people like Jim Harbaugh from the college? Okay, Michigan coach, you know he's going somewhere in the NFL, but where? There's jobs available everywhere. I'd like to think he probably goes to the Chargers, though. But who is on the hottest seat at all this week? That would have to be the Cowboys coach, Mike McCarthy. You know he's getting fired. He's toast. And rumor is, I think the Cowboys are looking into the Bill Belichick organization to come save them and maybe get them through the playoffs once and for all. Now, let's take a look at the Dallas-Green Bay game. Listen, before I even talk about it, Dallas, you're the only team that screwed me on my parlay. I went 4 or 5. Like I said, I switched off everybody. You were the only team I stayed on. I don't know why, because I know you do what you do in the playoffs and you choke every single year. And you screwed me out of $233.75. Right down to the cent. You screwed me, Dallas. You screwed me, okay? Let's talk about the game. I'm getting too heated, okay? Dallas, you're 16-0 at home over the last 16 games. We should probably think you're due for a loss, right? I should have known. Green Bay is 6-0 in your stadium. So one of these streaks comes to an end, and it was yours, Dallas. You lose 48-32. But you started out the game 27-0. You're like, what are you doing? You didn't even make it interesting for the fans. What are we even watching? Am I right? Ah, my goodness, you're garbage, Dak. You threw 2 interceptions, a pick 6 to start the game. Meanwhile, Jordan Love in his first season as a starter looks like Aaron Rodgers in his 10th season. He's throwing touchdowns everywhere. 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 3 touchdowns. If it wasn't for those 2 late touchdowns that Dak threw to Ferguson, we would have seen that this game was more of a blowout than it was. The score does not reflect on how bad you got your ass whipped, Dallas. Now, let's move on to the Eagles-Bucks game. Hey, Baker absolutely hooked their defense. The Eagles' D was terrible. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. Baker goes for 337 and 3 touchdowns on them? That's bananas, okay? Listen, no A.J. Brown? Yeah, big problem. They couldn't do nothing. They couldn't get no offense going the whole game long. They had 2 flags, Tampa Bay did, on 2 kicks for the Eagles, right? On an extra point and a field goal. So the Eagles are thinking, hey, let's move the field goal forward. Let's go for it. Let's get more points. Unsuccessful both times. They literally taking points off the board. They're going backwards. Terrible. They were a joke the whole game long. Jason Kelce, we love you. Hell of a career. Terrible way to say goodbye. Kelce got beat so bad in this game that he said it's over. Done. I don't want to do this again. So good luck in the future to you. But hey, terrible game for the Eagles. Now, we saved the best for last. The Rams, the Lions game, the one that I was anticipating the whole playoffs. I wanted this to happen so bad. And I know I was on the Rams last week. I switched off as soon as I seen Eminem make his hype up video for the Lions. I was like, whoa, Eminem's on board, baby. They're going to lose themselves. They're going crazy. He was in the stadium. He got the whole crowd going. It was pretty awesome. Stafford and Puka, they did ball out for the Rams, but they couldn't finish the job. 0 for 3 in the red zone. Kicking field goals every time. That's not good enough. Because the Lions, 3 for 3 in the red zone. They're scoring touchdowns every time they get down there. But this game, back and forth the whole time, it came down to 4 minutes left in the game. 24-23 right now. Rams have the ball. They get stopped. Maybe they're kicking a 58-yard field goal. Wait, are they going to punt that? With 4 minutes and 1 timeout? Sean McVay, I thought you were smarter than that. Bad decision. Because the Lions, they do what they do. They move the ball down the field. They go for it with a throw. They ice the game. You don't get a chance to get your offense back on the field. Congrats to the Lions, though. Your first playoff win in 32 years, ending the drought. Now Miami becomes the longest team to win a game now. Since 2000, they haven't won. So laughs on the Dolphins, am I right? We all know now that Goff, you're good enough for Detroit, buddy. Now, let's take a look forward to next week's bets. First, before we even get into the divisional round, we're talking UFC 297 championships, baby. Sean Strickland, EP, a fight for the ages. I know what you're thinking. Sean's defending his title for the first time. He looks so good against Adesanya. I think he's getting knocked out in the second round. I'll say it. He's done. One and done. He wins it. It's over. Now, let's talk football. We got the 49ers in Green Bay. Listen. Green Bay's arch nemesis in the playoffs has been the 49ers. And it will continue to be that way. They look great against the Cowboys, but they're not getting it done against the 49ers. Now, we got the Lions and the Bucks. Those teams looked pretty good last week. I kind of feel like the Bucks might do it, but right now, I'm rolling with the Lions. Now, we got the Chiefs and the Bills. I shouldn't even have to tell you who I'm going with. We're going with the Chiefs all day. But here's one that I think you'll like. We got the Ravens and the Texans. The Ravens are the best team in the NFL, but I like the way CJ's rolling. Their defense looks good. Their offense looks amazing. I'm taking the Texans, and I'm standing by that one. Big upset alert. And that's what we're doing next week, baby. Thanks for watching. It's been last week's bets. I'm your host, Jake MacKenzie.